Bulletproof Motivation. Introduction. Do you dream of being richer, getting in the best shape of your life, building an incredible business from the ground up? Maybe it's about finding deeper relationships or living in that dream house you've always imagined. Here's the reality. All of these goals are within your reach. Nothing is stopping you, except for one thing. It's not that you don't know how to do it. You already have the knowledge, the skills, and the expertise to make it happen. You could read another book on building wealth, devour articles about fitness hacks, or listen to podcasts on business strategies. But let's be honest, would that really get you closer to your goals? Or is it just another way to procrastinate? The truth is, it's not a lack of information that holds you back. It's the lack of action. It's not sticking to that diet, not making those calls to potential clients, or not saving that extra cash. You know what you need to do, but it's the doing part that's the real challenge. Most of us face the same problem. We struggle with motivation. We start strong but lose steam halfway through, letting excuses get in the way of our success. So, how do you turn that around? How do you stay driven and disciplined even when the initial excitement fades? This isn't just another how-to guide. This is your blueprint for mastering motivation itself. This is your ultimate crash course in grit, determination, and relentless willpower. We're not just talking about learning the steps to reach your goals. We're talking about becoming the kind of person who achieves those goals, no matter what. You will not only learn how to fish from this audiobook, but also how to become the unstoppable force that consistently captures the biggest fish. Whether your goal is to create a best-selling book, crush that workout, or launch the company of your dreams, all it takes is a 100% dedication to the process. You never know how far you can go until you start living up to your full potential. Prepare to delve further, exert more effort, and sharpen your focus like never before. You can do anything once you have mastered the art of self-motivation. Are you prepared to discover your true potential, I wonder? Chapter 1. Why motivation is key to everything. Does the idea of grit and determination sound a little bleak to you? It's not exactly what most people think of when they imagine fun or relaxation, right? But here's the thing. Mastering your motivation and discipline could actually be the key to unlocking more joy, freedom, and quality time with the people you love. Imagine a life where you work smarter, not harder, where your productivity goes through the roof, and you still have plenty of time to unwind, laugh with friends, or simply kick back with your favorite show. It frustrates me when I hear people say that to be successful, you have to sacrifice everything. Your evenings, your weekends, even your relationships. Some believe that focusing on their career means they can't afford the luxury of a relationship, or they have to miss out on family gatherings. That mindset bothers me because I'm convinced that it's simply not true. I believe and I know that you can have it all. Yes, you can pour your heart and soul into a project, chase your wildest ambitions, and still make time for the people and activities that make life worth living. This idea that you have to choose between success and happiness? Let's put that myth to rest once and for all. It's not about working longer or giving up the things you love. It's about working with laser-focused intensity on what truly matters, being strategic with your time and then knowing when to switch off. The key isn't just hard work. It's hard work that's smart, deliberate, and purposeful. Once you've done that, you can stop, breathe, and enjoy the rewards without guilt. In this journey, you'll learn how to balance your drive with your downtime. You'll see that when you align your motivation with your goals, you start achieving them faster and more efficiently. Suddenly, those big, overwhelming tasks shrink into manageable steps, and you find yourself making progress in leaps and bounds. And here's the best part. Because you're crushing your goals in record time, you'll have more space in your day to spend it exactly how you want. Whether it's relaxing on the couch, going on spontaneous adventures, or cherishing moments with your loved ones. But this isn't just about achieving more, it's about becoming more. With the right motivation and mental toughness, you're going to develop a resilience that you never thought possible. Life will still throw its curveballs at you. There will be setbacks, challenges, and days that don't go as planned. But now you'll have the strength to take it all in stride. You'll adapt, overcome, and keep pushing forward without losing momentum. When others might crumble under pressure, you'll rise powered by an inner resolve that keeps you moving toward your vision. This mindset shift will transform every aspect of your life. You'll find that you're not just more focused on the big goals, but also more present in the everyday moments. Your mind will be sharper and more agile because you'll train yourself to focus on the task at hand without being derailed by distractions. Even small, seemingly insignificant habits will start to change. You'll get out of bed on time in the morning, energized and ready to tackle the day. You'll clear the clutter from your kitchen before the day begins, setting a tone of order and purpose. And in moments of tension or conflict, you'll find yourself biting your tongue, responding with calm instead of letting emotions get the best of you. This mental toughness, this grit, is more than just a skill, it's your superpower. It's the foundation for a life where you're not just surviving but thriving, where you take control of your destiny instead of letting it control you. You'll stop reacting to life and start designing it, crafting each day with intention and purpose. And as you grow stronger, you'll discover a surprising truth. The more disciplined you become, the more freedom you actually gain. In this book, you're going to unlock that superpower. You'll learn how to tap into the kind of motivation that doesn't fade when the going gets tough. The kind of focus that keeps you glued to your goals no matter how tempting the distractions are. You'll discover how to build a mental fortress that turns every setback into a comeback and every obstacle into an opportunity for growth. Once you have this kind of discipline in your arsenal, nothing will be out of reach. So are you ready to flip the switch? To stop wishing and start doing? To create a life where you excel at your career, enjoy deep relationships, and still have time to savor the simple pleasures that make life rich? If you're ready to transform your hustle into happiness, then this is where your journey begins, because once you harness this power, everything changes. And the best part, you'll do it all without giving up what matters most. Chapter 2. Emotions Rule Motivation. Let's face it, our decisions aren't nearly as logical as we like to think. Despite what we may tell ourselves, we don't buy that new gadget because it's practical or because we need it. We buy it because it has sleek packaging, because it promises to make us look cool, or because we crave a little excitement in our otherwise monotonous day. This isn't just speculation, it's human nature. It's how we're wired. You see, shop owners and marketers know this secret. Our decisions are driven by emotion, not logic. Think about the last time you made an impulse purchase. You didn't really need that item, did you? You bought it because it gave you a thrill, because it represented a little slice of a lifestyle you aspire to, or maybe just because you felt the urge to reward yourself after a tough day. Or even worse, you bought it because you were afraid it might sell out before you got a chance to own it. Emotion drives you more than you realize. The truth is, our emotions act as a kind of internal compass, guiding our actions based on what our body believes is most crucial at the moment. Here's where things get tricky. Our body is still wired for survival in the wild. Evolution built our instincts not for modern living, but for a life spent hunting, gathering, and surviving the elements. To your brain, the most pressing needs are still to find food, stay warm, belong to a group, and make sure you're safe. This is where Maslow's hierarchy of needs comes into play. At its core, the hierarchy shows us that our thoughts and decisions are often dictated by our most basic physiological needs. If you're hungry, that hunger clouds your thinking. You become irritable, anxious, and short-tempered, not because of your boss or your partner or the mess in the house, but because your body is screaming for food. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO or an Olympic athlete. If your fundamental needs aren't met, your brain starts to focus exclusively on those primal drives. Take a moment to think about a time you were hangry. That combination of hunger and anger isn't just a mood, it's biology. As your blood sugar drops, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone, while serotonin levels take a nosedive. Cortisol triggers a state of anxiety and puts your brain on high alert, making you hypersensitive to anything that might go wrong. You think you're mad at your coworker or upset about a problem in your life, but what's really happening is your body is on a primal quest for food. It's a survival mechanism, a legacy of our caveman days when a missed meal could mean life or death. So how does this all tie into motivation? Why does understanding this primal wiring matter so much when it comes to getting things done? Because your brain's default setting is always looking to satisfy those basic needs first. If you're hungry, cold, tired, or even stressed, your brain is focused on fixing that problem before it can focus on anything else. And that's why, when you sit down to work on your goals, all those great intentions can fizzle out the moment your body senses any discomfort or threat. You might consciously want to write that book, launch that business, or get in shape. You know what you should be doing, and you might even have the plan all laid out. But the second your physiological needs kick in, those grand ambitions take a back seat. This is where motivation truly gets tested, when it comes up against the raw, emotional drives rooted deep in your biology. Now, let's flip the script. What happens when you're not hungry, not stressed, and your basic needs are all met? Suddenly, you're capable of incredible focus. You become unstoppable, capable of chasing your dreams with clarity and purpose. That's when self-actualization, the pinnacle of Maslow's hierarchy, becomes attainable. That's when you start to feel the real pull of motivation, the desire to become the best version of yourself, to achieve your highest potential. It's at this point that your motivation shines through, driving you to do what really matters. Not because you have to, but because you genuinely want to. You see, while our base needs like hunger, warmth, and social belonging are immediate and demanding, they're not what brings us true fulfillment. True happiness comes from those higher pursuits, the goals that challenge you, inspire you, and push you to grow. The problem is that if you're continuously having trouble meeting your basic needs, you won't be able to think about those higher-level objectives. If you are too tired from too little sleep, you will not have the energy to create the business of your dreams. If your workout regimen is uncomfortable and you're too cold, you won't persist with it. Additionally, if you're hungry or worried, you won't be able to concentrate on your creative efforts. Your body just won't allow it. Learning to control those physiological needs and not allowing them to divert your attention is the key to reaching your full potential. The capacity to declare, "I know I'm hungry, tired, or stressed, but I'm going to do this anyway because I want something greater," is what motivates people. It's the ability to resist those instinctive inclinations and remain committed to what is actually important. That's why so many of us find it difficult to move on with our most significant objectives. We are combating our own biology. Almost usually, your emotional need to eat will take precedence over your desire to follow a diet. Almost usually, the desire to keep cozy and warm will prevail over the desire to work out. Furthermore, the hard work of pursuing achievement will frequently take a back seat to the drive to belong and be accepted. But here's the good news. Once you recognize this pattern, you gain power over it. You start to realize that motivation isn't some magical force that comes and goes. It's a skill you can train. You learn to push past the initial discomfort, to tell your body that comfort and immediate gratification aren't the priority today. You begin to take control over your focus and your energy, channeling them toward the things that will bring you the deepest satisfaction. The moment you master this ability, everything changes. You'll notice that suddenly getting out of bed on a cold morning isn't so difficult. You'll find the strength to resist those fleeting temptations and commit to the habits that build the life you truly want. You'll become more resilient, bouncing back from setbacks with a newfound sense of determination. This is where motivation transcends into something more profound. It becomes the key to living a life of purpose and joy. It's the drive to not just meet your needs, but to exceed them, to push the limits of what you thought was possible for yourself. Because once you break free from the grip of those primal drives, you open yourself up to a life where you're not merely surviving but thriving. So the next time you find yourself struggling with motivation, remember this: it's not just about willpower. It's about understanding the fundamental needs that drive you and learning how to rise above them. It's about knowing that, yes, your body wants to keep you comfortable and safe, but your spirit is made to soar. And when you can bridge that gap, when you can focus on your higher goals even when your instincts tell you otherwise, that's when you'll discover the true power of motivation. That's when you'll see just how much you're truly capable of. Chapter 3. Hijacking our motivation. To chase those big dreams, to set your sights on those long-term goals, You've got to do something most people never even consider. You have to hijack your body's own motivation system. The trick is to rewire your instincts so that your natural drives work for you, not against you. It means learning to flip the hierarchy of needs upside down, bending your primal urges to serve your higher aspirations. Think about it. Your body's primary job is to keep you alive and comfortable, to make sure you're well-fed, warm, and part of a secure social group. That's what evolution designed you for. But here you are, in the modern world, trying to focus on loftier goals like building a business, sculpting a dream body, or writing that novel you've always wanted to complete. Your ambition is ready, but your biology is still playing catch-up, tugging you back to the basics whenever hunger, tiredness, or stress shows up. So how do you override those default settings? How do you tell your brain to stop obsessing over the momentary needs and start prioritizing what really matters? One way to do this is to start the day off right, with the fuel that powers your focus. If you kick off your morning with a bowl of sugary cereal, you're setting yourself up for failure. That quick hit of energy is short-lived, leaving you jittery and craving more. Instead, fuel your body with high-quality foods. Think complex carbs, protein, and fresh fruits. This isn't just about staying healthy, it's about ensuring your body's needs are met so you can concentrate on the bigger tasks ahead. When your energy levels are steady, you eliminate one major distraction from your mind's to-do list. But food isn't the only factor. It's about removing any little things that nag at your brain. These are what productivity expert Tim Ferriss calls open loops. Those minor tasks you keep putting off, like replying to an email or scheduling a car repair. These little things create a low-level stress that eats away at your focus. Closing these loops is like clearing mental clutter. It frees up your cognitive resources to dive deep into the work that truly matters. Consider attempting a marathon while toting a bulky backpack. When you put off doing these small chores, you are really torturing your psyche. Even when you're not aware of them, they drag you down and make it more difficult to focus entirely on your objectives. The answer: take them on head-on immediately. Follow the 1-minute rule. If a task can be finished in less than a minute, do it right away. In this manner, your day gets off to a fresh start, allowing you to focus all of your energy on the things that really matter. Let's now discuss the area surrounding you. You may be surprised to learn how much more of an impact your surroundings have on your motivation. Imagine this. You sit down to work and discover that your desk is cluttered with a mountain of unread papers, strange trinkets, and yesterday's coffee cups. Your brain acknowledges the clutter, even if you don't. Your attention is diverted from the work at hand while your peripheral vision searches through the clutter. Your brain is programmed to see possible dangers, even if they are as minor as an untidy desk or a messy room. Creating a tidy, organized workspace isn't just about aesthetics. It's about creating an environment that supports your goals. When your surroundings are in order, it sends a signal to your brain that everything is under control, allowing you to channel your full energy into your work. It's like telling your subconscious, hey, nothing to worry about here. Let's focus on that big project. But what about those moments when your biggest enemy is the comfort of your own bed? You know the scenario well. You set the alarm for 5 a.m. to squeeze in a workout or get a jump on your day, but when it rings, you're too cozy to move. You hit snooze once, twice, and suddenly it's an hour later, and you're scrambling to catch up. Here's the real reason you struggle to get up. Your body craves the immediate pleasure of staying warm and relaxed over the promise of long-term benefits like fitness or productivity. To your primal brain, sleep and comfort are always more valuable in the moment than the abstract idea of working out or getting ahead in your career. So how do you trick your brain into getting out of bed when every fiber of your being wants to stay put? You need to use your own desires against you. Place something near your bed that's so tempting, it pulls you out of your comfort zone without a second thought. Maybe it's your phone, let's face it. The urge to check social media, respond to messages, or see the latest notifications is almost irresistible. Use that craving to your advantage. As soon as you reach for your phone, you're awake. Your brain is firing up, and suddenly getting out of bed doesn't seem so impossible. Or think of a reward that feels tangible in the moment. Maybe it's a delicious snack you've saved just for mornings, or the promise of watching a favorite show while you eat breakfast. This little trick works because you're offering your brain a small, immediate payoff that can compete with the lure of staying under the covers. Another way to outsmart your biology is to create more immediate consequences for inaction. Tell your boss you'll be logged in at 7 a.m. sharp, or set a timer that will donate to a cause you disagree with if you don't get up. When your career or reputation is on the line, you'll find yourself leaping out of bed with a whole new sense of urgency. It's all about creating stakes that force you to act, even when comfort is calling your name. Ultimately, this is about taking control of your own internal wiring. It's about understanding that your motivation isn't something that appears magically. It's something you create by setting up the right conditions. You have the power to train your brain to focus on the long-term goals that bring true fulfillment, instead of giving in to every immediate whim. When you master these techniques, everything changes. You'll find that what once felt like a constant battle against procrastination and distraction becomes a steady march toward your goals. You'll start seeing progress in places where you were once stuck. You'll have the energy to push through challenges, the discipline to stay consistent, and the mental clarity to keep your eyes on the prize. Your motivation isn't broken, it's just waiting to be harnessed. By understanding the triggers that drive your behavior, you can turn even your most primal instincts into allies in the quest to become your best self. So go ahead, hijack your motivation system and use it to propel you toward the life you've always wanted. Because once you take charge of your own mind, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Chapter 4. Visualization. Let's discuss what actually occurs in your mind when you are driven to pursue your most ambitious objectives. Why is it that some people, in spite of fatigue, anxiety, or obstacles, seem to go forward with steadfast determination? What keeps them going while others give up and stay on the sidelines despite the distractions? The secret is in the extraordinary power of imagery and the adaptability of our brain's incentive mechanism, two concepts that science is only now starting to explore. Sometimes our minds have trouble telling the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is real. Take a moment to consider that. Your brain is tricked into reacting as strongly as it would if something were actually happening, even if it isn't. Imagine tricking yourself into believing there is a deadly trespasser outside your home. Even if you're perfectly secure, your body would go on high alert, your heart rate would shoot through the roof, and adrenaline would flood your system. Because your brain believes the fear to be real, it feels real. This phenomenon is why visualization can be a game changer when it comes to motivation. When you clearly picture your goals, or even imagine the consequences of not acting, you trigger the same physiological responses that drive real-world action. Neuroscientists call this embodied cognition, the idea that our thoughts are rooted in physical sensations. When we think about walking through a dense forest, our brain doesn't just process words. It pulls up images of trees, the crunch of leaves underfoot, and the cool air brushing against our skin. The result? Our brain reacts almost as if we're really there. This theory shatters the old concept of mentalese, a supposed machine code in the brain that processes thoughts and language. Instead, embodied cognition suggests that our understanding of the world is deeply tied to our physical experiences. Brain scans show that when we think about an activity or hear a story, parts of our sensory and motor cortex light up, mimicking the real experience. It's not just an abstract thought. Your brain is genuinely preparing for action. So how does this tie into motivation? It means that the way you visualize your goals directly affects your brain's chemistry. When you vividly picture your future success, whether it's a stronger physique, a thriving business, or achieving a lifelong dream, your brain releases dopamine, the reward hormone that fuels your desire to act. This rush of dopamine activates the brain's salience network, shifting your attention to the things that matter most and holding that focus like a laser beam. This is why having a crystal-clear goal that excites you is the ultimate secret weapon in staying motivated. When you truly care about what you're working toward, the visualization of that success triggers a cascade of motivation, keeping you fired up through even the toughest challenges. Arnold Schwarzenegger once said that he was able to endure rep after rep in the gym because he could see his goal of becoming Mr. Olympia with every curl and every squat. He didn't just work out, he lived his vision, and it drove him beyond the limits of physical fatigue. But what if you don't have a massive life purpose that drives you? Don't worry. You don't need to be saving the world to feel motivated. Even a short-term goal, something that gets your pulse racing in the here and now, can create the same effect. The key is to choose a target that you're genuinely passionate about, something that makes your brain light up with excitement, not dread. When your goal aligns with your values and touches on something you truly desire, motivation becomes a natural byproduct. However, not every task in life is going to be thrilling. Sometimes we're faced with mundane work assigned by a manager who doesn't quite get us, or tedious tasks that don't seem to lead anywhere. That's where things get tricky. The trick is to reframe these tasks in your mind so they speak to your higher needs. Think about the bigger picture, how completing that task could advance your career, earn you respect, or provide security for your family. Suddenly, the mundane becomes meaningful, tied to something larger than itself. Your motivation is also deeply influenced by the primal drive to avoid pain and discomfort. Our ancestors survived by taking fewer risks and sticking to familiar paths. While that made sense in a world full of saber-toothed tigers, it now means that we're often resistant to change and reluctant to step out of our comfort zones. But what if you could turn that survival instinct into a motivational tool? Imagine the cost of not acting. Visualize yourself stuck in the same job for years, never progressing, never reaching your potential. Picture the frustration of seeing others pass you by while your own dreams gather dust. These are the fears that should drive you. The pain of staying stagnant should far outweigh the discomfort of stepping up and taking a risk. By focusing on what you stand to lose if you don't act, you'll create a sense of urgency that propels you forward. Visualization isn't just about dreaming. It's about priming your brain for action. Before tackling a workout, watch a video of someone training hard and pushing their limits. Let their energy become yours. Your mirror neurons will fire up, making you feel as though you're right there with them, breaking a sweat and fighting for every rep. That's the power of mental priming. It jumpstarts your motivation before you've even lifted a finger. Your environment plays a critical role too. We've all heard the phrase clean space, clear mind, but it's not just about tidiness. It's about creating a space that fuels your productivity and creativity. Surround yourself with items that inspire you, artwork that moves you, books that provoke your thoughts, reminders of your goals. When you walk into a room designed to spark your ambition, your brain switches into gear almost automatically. Think about this. Every little detail in your environment sends a signal to your brain. Clutter triggers stress, making it hard to concentrate, while inspiring objects can lift your spirits and ignite your drive. You have the power to create a space that doesn't just support your goals but actively encourages you to pursue them. Motivation isn't about forcing yourself to work harder. It's about transforming your work into something you can't resist. It's about creating an emotional connection to your goals that's so strong it drowns out all the noise and distractions. By hacking your brain's natural instincts and using the science of visualization, you can flip the switch on your motivation and set yourself up for success. So, the next time you're struggling to get started or feeling overwhelmed by the tasks ahead, remember this: your mind is the most powerful tool you have. By training it to see your goals as real, by surrounding yourself with the right cues, and by focusing on the risks of not acting, you can drive yourself to levels of productivity and success that once seemed impossible. You're not just trying to change your habits, you're rewiring your brain for greatness. And when you master that skill, you'll find that motivation isn't something you need to chase. It's something that lives within you, ready to be unleashed at a moment's notice. Chapter 5. The Energy Problem. Picture this. You're on fire for a goal, passionately obsessed, with every detail planned out. You've cleared your schedule, organized your space, and created the perfect environment for productivity. You're ready to write that book, crush that workout, or launch that business idea. But when it's time to put in the work, you just can't seem to get started. You sit there staring at your blank screen, your untouched dumbbells, or your unopened planner, wondering what's holding you back. Why does motivation feel so elusive, even when you want this more than anything? Here's the reality. Sometimes, no matter how perfectly you've set yourself up for success, it's not motivation you're missing, it's energy. Energy is the gasoline in the tank of your ambition, and without it, even the most disciplined intentions sputter out before they reach the finish line. Too many of us think we lack time to chase our goals, but the truth is we're often running low on energy, and that's what makes progress feel like an uphill battle. Think about it. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. We've all heard those inspirational stories about CEOs who wake up at 4 a.m. to exercise, read, and tackle projects before the world even stirs. Yet when that alarm clock buzzes, what do most of us do? We hit snooze, roll over, and promise ourselves that tomorrow will be different. But it's not the lack of time that's stopping you. It's the crushing fatigue from an energy reservoir that's already depleted. The harsh reality is that modern life drains us in 100 different ways. It's not just the physical exhaustion of a long day, but the mental wear and tear of stress, distractions, and obligations that suck away our willpower and motivation. By the time we get home, all we want to do is collapse on the couch and engage in the most mindless activity possible. That's why it's easier to binge-watch Netflix than to read a single chapter of a book, or why scrolling through social media feels more satisfying than learning a new skill. Your energy is empty, and your body is begging for rest, not effort. But what if you could rewire the way you approach your day? What if you could structure your routine around your natural energy rhythms, instead of trying to force productivity when your brain and body are already shutting down? This is where the game changes. Let's get one thing straight. You don't need more time. You need better energy management. The first step is to understand when your energy peaks during the day. Maybe you're one of those rare morning warriors whose mind is sharpest at dawn. Or perhaps you hit your stride in the late afternoon, or even at night when the world is quiet and distractions fade. Whatever your peak hours are, that's when you should be tackling your most challenging tasks, the ones that require your full focus and creativity. For example, if you're a night owl who struggles in the mornings, don't fight it by forcing yourself to do high-intensity work at 6 a.m. Instead, save those early hours for tasks that require less brainpower and use your prime time to dive into the deep work that moves the needle on your goals. This simple shift can transform your productivity, allowing you to do more in less time because you're syncing with your body's natural energy flow. But there's more to energy management than just timing. It's also about understanding how to refill that tank when it's running low. Most of us treat energy like it's an infinite resource, piling on more and more tasks without ever stopping to refuel. We burn through our day with caffeine and sheer willpower, only to crash hard when it runs out. That's why building in mini recovery periods is crucial. Think of your energy like a battery that needs regular recharging. Instead of pushing through the slump, take short strategic breaks that actually replenish your focus and stamina. Even 5 minutes of stretching, a quick walk, or a few deep breaths can reset your system and give you a burst of clarity. And don't underestimate the power of a light workout. Yes, exercise itself might sound exhausting, but once you get moving, it actually wakes you up and boosts your overall energy levels. Here's the trick. Don't wait until you feel completely drained to recharge. Make these micro breaks a regular part of your day, and you'll find yourself able to sustain higher levels of motivation throughout. When you treat your energy like the precious resource it is, you make smarter choices about how to use it and when to conserve it. Let's address another big energy thief, stress. We live in a world that runs on high-octane anxiety, where every little worry chips away at our reserves. Stress isn't just mentally taxing, it's physically draining. When you're stressed, your body is in fight-or-flight mode, burning through energy at an incredible rate and leaving you exhausted. That's why learning to manage stress is as crucial to your productivity as managing your time. Meditation, mindfulness, or even just a few moments of focused breathing can do wonders to calm your nerves and stop the stress cycle before it drains your energy completely. The goal isn't to eliminate stress. Let's be real, that's impossible. But to learn how to control your response to it. When you master your reaction to stress, you stop letting it dictate how much energy you have left to give. But what if all the stress-busting techniques in the world still can't get you moving when you're exhausted? That's when you need to turn up the dial on motivation itself. Sometimes the fastest way to regain your energy is to remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place. Tap into your emotional connection to your goal. Picture the payoff, visualize the rewards, and see yourself in the moment of triumph. Motivation can make you stronger, faster, and more resilient. When you really care about something, when it sets your soul on fire, your body responds with a surge of energy that can help you power through the fatigue. This is why stories of adrenaline-fueled feats of strength are so captivating. When the stakes are high enough, we're capable of extraordinary things. Use that same mental trick to your advantage by making your goal feel as urgent and immediate as possible. But what if the project you're working on doesn't excite you? What if it's a dull assignment from your boss or a task that just doesn't light your fire? In that case, you have to create your own energy. One way to do this is by turning the mundane into a challenge. Gamify the task by setting a timer, racing against the clock, or aiming to beat your personal best. Suddenly, what was boring becomes a competition, and your brain's reward centers light up at the prospect of victory. Another tactic is to use your environment as a trigger for action. Surround yourself with objects that inspire and energize you. Put up reminders of your goals, quotes that pump you up, or images of people you admire. Turn your workspace into a command center that fuels your ambition every time you walk in. Your environment can either lift you up or drag you down, so make sure it's set up to lift. And when all else fails, use the power of physical movement to jolt your energy back to life. Start with a simple stretch, a few deep squats, or a brisk walk around the block. This small burst of movement can be enough to get your blood flowing and shake off the fog of fatigue. If you're truly exhausted, even the act of standing up and doing a light stretch can reinvigorate you. The key takeaway: motivation isn't just a mental game, it's a whole body experience. To stay motivated, you need to work with your energy, not against it. Learn to understand your natural rhythms, respect your body's need for recovery, and create an environment that drives you forward. When you master these elements, you stop battling against yourself and start harnessing the power of your own biology to reach your biggest goals. You see, the secret to conquering fatigue isn't to push harder or demand more. It's to work smarter, to become a master at managing your energy. It's about setting up your life in a way that aligns with your goals and understanding that motivation comes not just from the mind, but from how you treat your entire being. Once you get this, once you start fueling your life in a way that makes sense, there will be no limit to what you can achieve. Chapter 6. Train like a Navy SEAL. Pushing through a tough workout, dragging yourself to learn something new, or forcing your focus on a task when you'd rather do anything else, it can feel like the hardest thing in the world. But here's the kicker. As hard as it might be, it doesn't even begin to compare to the extremes that some people face every day. Imagine trekking for days through a scorching desert without rest, or running headfirst into enemy fire with exhaustion clouding your senses. Think about making life-or-death decisions while your body is screaming at you to sleep. This is the reality of soldiers, Navy SEALs, paratroopers, and even the legendary Spartans of ancient times. For centuries, armies have trained their warriors not just to fight, but to fight well under the most brutal and soul-crushing conditions imaginable. These individuals are molded to endure beyond the limits of normal human capability, facing conditions that most of us would never survive. What's their secret? Part of it is learning to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, embracing what's often called discomfort training. They are conditioned to not only accept discomfort, but to thrive in it, to let it become their new normal. Here's the truth that might shock you. As modern humans, we're addicted to comfort. We crave it like a drug, seeking warmth, softness, and safety at every turn. We live in perfectly climate-controlled spaces, sleep on plush mattresses, eat whenever we want, and avoid even the smallest inconveniences. Our ancestors didn't have those luxuries. They battled the elements, hunted for survival, slept under the stars in the cold, and ate what they could scavenge or catch. And the crazy thing is, they were just as happy, maybe even more so than we are today. This phenomenon is called habituation. We become so used to our comforts that they become our baseline, and anything less feels like a catastrophe. When the heater breaks on a cold night or the Wi-Fi goes out, it feels like the end of the world. Our minds spiral, our bodies panic, and we find ourselves in a state of stress over things that wouldn't have even fazed our ancestors. We've built ourselves such comfortable bubbles that the smallest discomfort can throw us completely off balance. This is why elite military forces go through extreme training. They know that comfort won't always be an option in the field, and when they're facing the harsh realities of war, they can't afford to be thrown off by a lack of sleep or food. Spartans, for example, used to train by doing things that seemed utterly pointless, like ripping up grass with their bare hands. Why? Because it wasn't about building physical strength. It was about building mental grit, the kind of resilience that lets you push through even when every fiber of your being is begging you to quit. So, what's the lesson here for the rest of us? It's simple but profound. To grow stronger, to achieve more, you have to get comfortable with discomfort. You have to push your limits not just physically but mentally, training yourself to face challenges head-on without flinching. This isn't just about making life a little bit harder on yourself for fun. It's about raising your tolerance level, so when life throws you a curveball, you're ready to hit it out of the park. But let's be real. None of us are going to jump into Spartan training or sign up for Navy SEAL Hell Week tomorrow. And that's okay. You don't need to live in a world of extremes to start building resilience. The first step is to understand that your mind and body are far more adaptable than you think. You're wired for survival, and that means you're also wired for growth. Through meditation, you can develop this mindset in a very effective way. Meditation teaches you to manage what you focus on, to change your perspective from one of stress and pain toward one of serenity and clarity. This may sound too easy, or even counterintuitive. Gaining control over your thoughts makes you more resilient to stress and able to thrive in a chaotic environment. For this reason, meditation is a superpower rather than just a practice. It enables you to step back from the chaos, the uncertainties, and the anxieties, and to remain composed even when everything around you seems to be collapsing. Stoic philosophy has strong connections to mindfulness, a type of meditation that centers on the present moment. According to Stoicism, although we are not always in control of the challenges life presents, we do have power over how we handle them. It's about learning to overcome pain and suffering by acknowledging that they are a natural part of being human. This kind of thinking changes your perspective of difficulties such that they become chances to improve rather than barriers. The wonderful part is that you'll discover that it takes less and less to make you uncomfortable when you start pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and accepting discomfort as a tool for personal development. You become mentally tough to the point where daily challenges seem insignificant. Things that used to overwhelm you, like a challenging workout, a pressing deadline, or a demanding workday, now don't seem to be as big of an issue. The more you practice getting out of your comfort zone, the higher your tolerance for discomfort becomes. You stop looking for the easy way out and start taking on challenges with a smile, knowing that every bit of effort, every bit of struggle is a step toward a stronger version of yourself. That's when you'll find a surprising truth. The more you lean into discomfort, the more comfortable you become in any situation. You'll reach a point where nothing seems impossible, where the obstacles that once held you back now fuel your determination. Imagine a day when no matter what life throws at you, you're ready to face it with confidence, not because everything is easy, but because you've trained yourself to be tough. You've learned to be comfortable in the storm, to find your calm in the chaos. It's this level of mental resilience that separates those who only dream from those who do, who push through barriers and come out stronger on the other side. And when you reach this stage, when you start finding comfort in the most uncomfortable situations, you'll realize that you've hit a new level of performance. Suddenly, the little things that used to bother you won't have any power over you. You'll move through life with a sense of control, knowing that whatever comes your way, you've got this. You'll know that you can accomplish anything. Thus, begin small if you wish to develop this level of resilience. Lean into discomfort one step at a time to begin. When you're fatigued, train, take a cold shower, or face a fear that has been preventing you from moving forward. Develop the mentality to rise to obstacles rather than shrink from them. With time, you'll develop a mindset that not only tolerates suffering, but rather thrives on it. A mindset that views obstacles as opportunities to reach your greatest potential. You become unstoppable in this way. That's how you start living above your means and surpass the dreams of the majority of people. Are you prepared to feel unpleasant now? You become the strongest, most unstoppable version of yourself there, which is where the magic happens. Chapter 7. Correct Goal Setting. Staying motivated can be tricky business, especially when your goals seem so far off that they might as well be on another planet. We've all been there, setting lofty ambitions like losing a significant amount of weight, launching a new business, or mastering a new skill. At first, the idea is exciting. It fills you with a sense of purpose and drive. But as the days pass, reality sets in, and you realize that reaching that distant goal feels like an endless uphill climb. Before you know it, your motivation starts to slip, and the dream that once felt within reach suddenly seems impossible. Here's the deal. It's not that your goal is impossible. It's that the way you're approaching it is setting you up to fail. The key to staying motivated isn't about dreaming bigger. It's about thinking smarter. It's about breaking down that monumental vision into small, manageable steps that you can tackle right here, right now. When your goals are vague and far off, like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds by next year, you give yourself too much room for excuses. The distance between you and that goal leaves plenty of space to justify slipping up today because, hey, you've got months to catch up, right? But here's where the magic happens when you flip the script. Instead of setting yourself up with a goal that's light years away, focus on something that challenges you every single day, something you can control and measure instantly. Rather than saying, I'll get in shape by next summer, commit to, I will work out 3 times this week. Suddenly, your success isn't dependent on some abstract future. It's grounded in what you do today, tomorrow, and the day after that. This kind of goal setting keeps your motivation in the present, where it can actually drive you to take action. Think of it like this. Each day becomes a new game, a fresh opportunity to push yourself a little harder. Even if you mess up today, there's always tomorrow to get back on track. You don't have to wait months to see if you're getting closer to your goal. Right here and now, whether you're moving in the right direction. Every time you hit that workout, every time you stick to that healthy meal, you're winning. Each small victory feeding your motivation and confidence. The truth is that the journey to any big goal is built one step at a time. When you make each step count, when you focus on winning the day instead of worrying about the end game, something incredible happens. A year from now, when you finally take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you'll realize that the end goal has quietly taken care of itself, all because you mastered the art of staying present, turning your daily grind into a series of small but powerful victories. Chapter 8. All Work and No Play. We've spent so much time talking about motivation, about pushing through those tough moments and grinding through even the most unpleasant tasks. But here's a secret that often gets lost in the noise of hustle culture. Real, lasting motivation isn't just about how hard you can push yourself. It's also about how well you allow yourself to pull back, to unwind, and to let go. It's about finding the balance between the effort and the ease, between the grit and the grace. Think of your motivation like sand in an hourglass. Every time you force yourself to dig deep, to stay disciplined, to power through, you're letting that sand fall. And no matter how much willpower you have, eventually, the sand runs out. That's when you need to flip the hourglass and give yourself the space to recharge. The magic happens in the reset, in those moments when you allow yourself to relax, laugh with friends, lose yourself in a good book, or just enjoy the stillness of a quiet evening. The truth is, rest isn't the opposite of hard work. It's the partner that makes the hard work sustainable. Without the promise of rest and relaxation, motivation becomes a marathon with no finish line, a race where you're always sprinting but never arriving. But when you know there's a moment of peace waiting for you at the end of the struggle, something beautiful shifts in your mindset. Suddenly, your discipline isn't just about enduring the pain, it's about earning the reward. The thought of kicking back with your favorite movie or sharing a laugh with friends transforms from a luxury into the fuel that powers your efforts. Here's something the fitness world has known forever. Your muscles don't grow while you're lifting weights. They grow when you're resting. It's in the quiet moments when your body has a chance to heal that strength is truly built. The same is true for your mental grit and resilience. You become stronger not only by how much you push but by how wisely you pull back, by learning to dance between the yin and the yang of effort and relaxation. So the next time you're in the thick of the grind, remember this. Your strength isn't just in how much you can take, but also in how well you can recover. Embrace both sides of the equation. Keep your eye on the reward that waits for you, knowing that your time to rest and reset is just as vital as the work you put in. Because in the balance between the hustle and the calm lies the true secret to lasting motivation. Conclusion. Motivation and determination aren't just traits you're born with. They're skills you can master. They're not hidden in your DNA. They're cultivated by understanding how your mind works and harnessing the power of your own emotions. The secret lies in learning what truly drives you, what lights that fire within, and then learning to trigger that fire whenever you need it most. When you train your mind through meditation and embrace the discomfort that comes with growth, you're not just toughening up. You're unlocking a kind of resilience that goes beyond ordinary grit. You're building a mental muscle that doesn't just endure, it thrives under pressure. With this mindset, you'll find yourself capable of pushing through challenges you once thought impossible. Master these skills, and you'll discover that there are no limits to what you can achieve.